Alright, hey everybody, R.A. Jones here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up a character in the Chimera system for the RP Sim 4th Dimension Star Wars Legacies. So this is going to be just the first of a series of videos. Each one's going to show and explain various aspects within the Chimera system, so that way you can get yourself set up and situated with that. You know, combat mechanics, crafting, troubleshooting like the HUD system. Um, I do want to say that none of these videos should be considered a mandatory watch to RP at the sim. It's just a helpful tool in case you're having trouble, like a visual FAQ, so to speak. Um, so also things will be changing around the sim a lot within the system. So occasionally some things covered in these videos might become outdated. I will be doing my best to try and update the videos either with annotations or just updating the videos themselves. So if something does seem a little off, doesn't match quite what you're seeing in Second Life, compared to what's in the video, please understand. I will try to get around to it, and if you do notice a flaw, feel free to point it out to me. So yeah, let's get started then. First off, you'll notice I'm not actually on Sim. Uh, you will see why in a moment when I TP onto Sim. So let's do that, and off we go. Alright, so here we are on Sim, and when you arrive for the first time, you're going to notice this big pop-up over here on the right-hand side. This is the Sim's Second Life experience. It's asking, permissions to do all this stuff. So it can run on your account. Now, using the experience system is essential to using the Chimera system. So, because that handles the combat, the character sheet, the inventory, it handles the entire system that we use, uh, and everything related to that. I understand that there is some skepticism over allowing these sorts of things, but trust me, it's safe, it's really reliable, and it uses a lot less lag than your typical, attachment HUD based combat system that you'll have on SL. So I mean, feel free to read through all that, make sure you're okay with the permissions that you're given it, and once you've done that, you go ahead and click yes on the prompt. Oh no, I clicked no. Well, I'm willing to bet most of you did that anyway, because a giant thing pops up on the right side of the screen asking you if it can act on your avatar and all that. Of course you're going to click no. I would too. I did the first time I saw it. No big deal. You still want to use our system. You changed your mind. You want to let the experience run its thing. Or maybe the pop-up never even showed up at all. It's totally okay. We've got this little terminal right here. You click that, resends the permissions request. You just go ahead and click yes that time. Sometimes you might have to give it a moment after clicking it for it to pop up. Sometimes you teleport on Sim, it won't pop up immediately. Just give it a moment. And another thing is if you feel like you might have blocked it, or for whatever reason, even when you're clicking the resend permissions, it's not popping up again, and you want to make sure that you did say it's okay, you go over to Avatar, scroll down to Experiences, and you can check in your allowed. There it is, Star Wars Legacies experience. You can check your blocked to make sure you didn't block it. So just in case, to get that running correctly. Alright, well, before we move into the character creation room, some things to point out. There's these four things worth clicking on over here, plus the roleplay wiki. That's not quite essential, but it is a fun thing. You can read about different things people have written, regarding Star Wars roleplay here on Second Life. But this is where you'll find our rules, our master's document list. You go to that page, and there you go. All sorts of useful documents that'll, you can read through these anytime. We try to keep them updated as things change and all that. And you've also got our HoloNet news. So that's a Tumblr. That's like in-character news stuff. And we've got our OOC updates Tumblr. So those are both two Tumblr accounts there those are worth following on the sim. But most importantly, out of here, I would say is the Discord. You know, even if you don't have a Discord and you plan on role playing here, I highly recommend making one and joining that community. You can get a lot of help on there, even just chatting to people, hanging out, getting to know people. I highly recommend that. There's also our in-world group, the Star Wars Legacies roleplay group. That's free to join. Loading weird. Anyway, there we go. I highly recommend. I dare say it's essential if you really want to roleplay here. Join this group. You get, you get to stay up to date with all these notices on what's going on and everything, and you get the whole group chat thing going on. It's a very useful resource, so definitely check that out. There should be something set up here soon. It's gone missing on me. It's probably going to be right up here again. That'll link you to the group, so you can join that. Anyway, with all that said and done, we're ready to move on into the character creation room here and set up our character in the system. So we find this blue terminal, and this is where the magic happens, and you really start to build yourself in the system. You click on it, and boom, zooms you in, gives you this cool interface, focuses on the screen, and it shows out a layout of all the different skills we have in the system that you can choose from. And you'll notice you start off, you got 106 points up here, and all the skills have a value of 1. When you're making your character, I recommend you just click these minuses and zero everything out. That's what I always do. That way you don't accidentally leave something as a value of 1 when you don't want to. And you'll notice sometimes as you're clicking the pluses and the minuses, it might lag a little. It might take a second before it changes. Don't worry about that. It happens. It's not entirely under anyone's control. You know, it depends on the lag on the server, depends on the lag on the other server running the Chimera system, how many people are using the Chimera system at the time, your lag, your personal lag to the SL sim, you know. So just if you give it a moment, it'll stay updated with you. You might have to click an arrow a couple of times before it changes, but it'll work, I promise. Yeah, so later on I'll go over like what all these skills do a little more in depth. Most of them are really self-explanatory by the title, but you know, I'll let you in on a few of the less obvious things about them. And you'll see each one has this little informational icon, pops up a little thing in chat. A few of these at the time of this video are still a little bit outdated. A lot of these skills have changed massively since they've been rolled out, and changing the little information things hasn't quite been caught up, but I will, rest assured, I will clear up any confusion regarding those. But for now, I'm just going to set up a basic build, and you'll notice right up here it says enter character name. And what you want to do there is you just type into your nearby chat the name of your character that you want to play. You just go ahead and pop it right into nearby chat, and you see it pop up right there. So the system is registered my name, and you can do that before or after you distribute your points. Doesn't really matter. You just can't submit until after you've put in a character name. And you'll see, right, it says available points is 130, but as I put 1 point into light range, it takes 2 points out of that 130. So the general rule with spending skill points is that for every increment you put here, it takes twice as many away from your available points. So I put a value of 1, it took a value of 2, I increase this to a value of 2, it takes 4 from up here, I increase this to 3, and it takes another 6. So the pattern just stays that way. I increased this to 4, it took another 8. You can put these skills as high as you want as long as you have the available points to spend them. There's also a really nifty data spreadsheet. This has been made up. It's not quite like an official sim document thing yet, but it's extremely helpful. It's not, as far as the abilities, it's not always perfectly up to date, but considering you have to wait a week between finalizing builds, I really suggest using this to test where you can put your points. It'll save you a little bit of time and quickly show you most of the abilities you end up unlocking with your skill points. I will put a link to these documents as well as the master documents list in the description. For now, I'm just going to throw in a basic example build. Okay, so I've distributed all my points into the skills that I think I'm going to want, but you'll notice up here it says I have been overspent by 6 points. Now that's because I put this extra 5th point into mechanics, and it cost more than the 4 points I had available, because to go up to 5, that costs 10. So if I click submit, it says I spent too many points, I can't create this character. So I can take that back down to 5. I've now got 4 points to spend. Let's say I'll put that into heavy ranged and medical. So that's 2 points for each of those. Zeroes me out. What I can do is I can leave these blank for whatever reason and keep these spare 4 points. It doesn't help you in any way. There's no benefit other than you didn't spend them. So I might as well use them. Put those 2 points in and you click submit. Now you'll notice it says my character is not able to be modified. That's because I set my character up again less than a week ago. It was last Sunday at 5:43. Right now it's Friday. So I have to wait till Sunday to be able to change my character again. But if I were to wait till Sunday, it'd be the exact same process. I click the terminal. You'll notice sometimes it can be a little resistant to being clicked, probably because I have a very slow internet connection. Anyway, it would be the exact same process. I would click on it, the terminal thing pops up, and I would respend all the same points. So you don't lose the points. It's not like you spent them and they're gone forever. You just have spent them for that week. You don't have to recreate your character every week. You can just leave it the same and it will always remain the same. And once you do click that submit button, you get a 10-minute window where you can change your stats again. If you don't change it within that 10 minutes, like I said, you have to wait a week. So that's why this one is really helpful, because you can test them out and get it just right so you don't end up waiting a week to find out you did something wrong. So in the event that you do create a character thinking, oh, I would have had this ability or this skill does that, and you made a mistake, didn't understand what you were doing, you can try and message one of the admins or maybe a system developer or a GM. They would possibly be willing to reset your character so you don't have to wait that whole week. Those things are always handled on a case-by-case basis, and there's not a guarantee that your character will be unlocked. We do try to be forgiving, so I mean, if you feel like, hey, I made a mistake, I would like to be reset, feel free to reach out and try and ask for that. We're not going to like, oh, you asked for a reset, you're a bad person, get out the sim. We're not going to harass you or nothing. It doesn't hurt to ask, So once you created your character, at the blue terminal, you come over here to the green one, and when you click on that, I mean, for me, it's going to say I don't have a new character ID because I've already made a character. But if I hadn't, if this was my first time, just made my character, a blue prompt thing. I'm sure you've seen them. It would pop up there. It would have a list of different like archetypes, soldier, medic, smuggler, etc. Each one listing off some starter gear that you can get. So this would be items within the system. It's not like you go out and you buy an assault rifle from somebody's store on the marketplace and that's the weapon you have in the system. All our weapons are self-contained within the system. All our armors, all the items that interact with the system, you obtain through the system, not by spending lindens. So you would get a prompt that comes up right there telling you, hey, you can select this, get this gear. You just read through those, figure out which one fits what you want, and you would say, yep, I want that one, and it would give it to you in your inventory, which you can check through some chat commands, which always start with cc dot, and to check your inventory is get inv, and there you go. You can see that I've got a small inventory here. I've got some grenades, some med packs, some credits, bandages, and a certified ID. And if you end up, that pop-up comes up, you end up clicking yes, and you realize later on that weapon, that armor, that stuff that didn't really suit you, that's okay. You can always buy more stuff later. There are plenty of ways to earn credits and items in character and through the system, so you're not stuck with that gear forever. You'll also notice that once you made the character, this little eye icon, I'm not sure if it actually does show up the moment you say yes to the experiences or not. I think it waits until you've made your first character before this icon finally shows up, and that'll bring you to the HUD, which is something I will talk about in another video because there is quite a bit to discuss about this whole HUD, especially troubleshooting. So if you've got problems with the HUD, there'll be a whole video on that. But one of the big things is you have to make sure that you have media enabled, because without media it would have just stayed on that touch to initialize screen and all this would never load. So you'll always want to make sure in your preferences, sound and media, allow in-world scripts. You don't have to have play media attached to other avatars, but you definitely want to make sure you have in-world scripts to play media. Probably wouldn't hurt to allow it to autoplay, but obviously you can see it didn't really matter. That's absolutely essential. The HUD does not work without having media enabled. So, and even if you don't get the HUD working, you can always use chat commands. There's hardly anything that the HUD can do that the chat commands can't. But other than that, you are all set up with your character and you are ready to go. And you can start role-playing at your leisure. And before I forget, because I kind of already did, a little shameless self-plug. You'll see this little screen over here. It might move, but this is where it's at right now. If you click that, it'll run a little video that a really amazing guy made. I did. It's our very own Sims Star Wars intro crawl. It'll sort of set you up with what's going on story-wise on our sim, since we are following our own storyline more or less. It's a mix of established canon, extended universe, and just our own input on that. It doesn't really follow what Disney's been doing with episodes 7 and 8 and soon to be 9. So it's a fun little read. I'll try and update it as things on the sim change. So that's just something else you might want to watch so that you can kind of understand where we're at story-wise on the sim. So yeah, again, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you on sim or in my next video, or both. Peace out.